Just I want to start off by saying our thoughts and prayers are with the University of Virginia, that entire university, and in particular the football program, the team, obviously everybody involved. There's not a whole lot that words can say, and I'm sure everybody has probably done the same thing. But this community, this football community, obviously, especially us, our thoughts and prayers are with them in this tragedy and all that have been involved in it. And we've got a kid in Juwan Briggs who was a part of that program just two and a half years ago, and still has a lot of really good friends there. Knows a lot of the people that have been involved in that, and so I know it's tough on him as well. And we actually got a chance to sit down and talk to him a little bit about it yesterday, and just make sure he was all good. And it affects all of us, whether we have kids ourselves or everybody within this football community, and everybody that obviously sends kids off to college. That it's a scary thing. So thoughts and prayers are with them and everybody involved. Obviously not easy to move on, but the reality is we do. And last week was a crazy one for us. Great to have a Friday night game when it all is said and done, because you get a nice little break there on Saturday to take a couple deep breaths. But I don't, more than anything, the great thing about Friday night, it started off with the atmosphere and the environment that our student body started it with, and then obviously the rest of the community created. I was a little bit, not that I was worried that it wouldn't be a normal nip at night, but I knew there were some really big games going on Friday night, and that's going to take away from some things at some point in time. But it was amazing to see that it didn't take away from the nip at night and the atmosphere, and it was one of those games that we really needed it too. So I wasn't, I think, the sharpest that we had played all year. Especially when that momentum and energy shifted, we really kind of relied upon that student body and the environment, atmosphere that we were playing in to kind of bring us back and find a way to win a game. So that was a really, really, really great night, in the sense that we've done it again. We found another way to win a football game, different than maybe some of the other ones, but nonetheless another way to win a football game. If that means return a kick for 100 yards, if that means making another stop on the last play of the game, if that means punting another ball with 11 guys up, and a lot of situations that you practice maybe one time in camp that you don't always have a chance, or even in 6 years here, of ever coming down to those situations and actually do them in a game. We've had more of them this year than I've ever been involved with, but we've executed them and found a way to get it done. So it's tough, but we move on now, and now got to change the whole mindset going on the road, and get our guys back into understanding this is when the playoffs start, and that's just the reality. It's you're in that situation now that every one of these is incredibly critical as you come down the stretch, and there is no playoffs in college football, but for us it started.
You're not going to like this one, but
well, it's you, so why would you think anything different?
Any response to the ECU head coach and quarterback accusing you guys of intentionally injuring a player?
Did I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Both of them said it?
Oh yeah. I can pull up the quotes if you like.
It's perfectly fine. I mean, we don't play them again, but you know what? A game is a game, and you play the game really aggressive. I actually don't even. I wish we wouldn't throw kids out of football games. There's times to throw guys out. There are not malicious targeting hits. Their guy was thrown out 2 years ago here for a targeting penalty on an onside kick. It is what it is. I don't think the guy had malicious intent. I don't believe that we had malicious intent. It's a part of the game. It's unfortunate that people would feel that way. I would imagine it's an emotional thing when you say it at that point in time, and I hope it's just an emotional thing, and they don't really believe that about how we play the game and how we teach our guys to play the game.
On the threats play, what do you do in that situation? It's obviously a big play right by the goal line. He's running full speed. You don't want him to get a targeting penalty, but how do you coach? What is he supposed to do in that situation?
Well, we always talk about it. Defenseless players are be hitting what we call the strike zone, between the chest and the kneecaps. That's what we call the strike zone. And any receiver catching a ball is a defenseless player. And so we talk it. We kind of coach. It's hard to drill it, but I mean you drill it on bags. You don't hit your own guys in those situations. And we all talk about shoulder-led tackling. I mean we are a shoulder-led tackling team. In particular, I mean we say it all the time. Hey, we're playing some zone and you get crossers, whatever you do now, you make sure you hit with your shoulder. And he's running as fast as he possibly can. To me, it looks like he is legitimately leading with his shoulder. The reason I don't like guys being thrown out of games, there's time to be thrown out of games. We've had a couple in the past, the UCLA game a couple years ago where we legitimately hit a guy in the head and really, really dumb. But when there's a change of level, when there's a game it's in the process, I don't think those are conscious decisions. It's not a launching thing. That I hope and believe that we're going to change the rules like the NFL and not just eject guys unless it's malicious intent. So if it was malicious intent, we would obviously be like, look, this is what we taught you. Cannot do this. You must be a shoulder-led tackle. It's the way we teach it. I believe that's what he's attempting to do. It's tough because you guys got to run 37 yards. I think we end up looking at something crazy like that. So, it's a bang-bang thing. We continue to teach the way we, teach with the shoulder-led tackle and, staying away from all head between the nipples and the kneecaps. And you can't bat an eye about it. You just got to keep moving on. It's tough for both. I mean, it's not like every time there's a target, a guy gets knocked out of the game. It has nothing to do with it. Nobody even knows who the ball's being thrown to. So it's not like you're targeting any particular thing. So it's a part of the game. We all know we're trying to make this game safer and better, and we teach it to be safer and better. And there are still situations where it is a violent football game.
Is it the same approach even after the first one as well? Was that also a bang-bang play, the one that he had at Tulsa, right? He's an aggressive player and a great tackler, but do you try to tell him to find that balance between?
We do it every week. I mean, it's not just him. I mean, it could have been any other middle of the field safety in that situation. The uniqueness is a lot of middle of the field safeties can't get to the point of attack outside the numbers. I mean, you don't even expect the middle of the field safety sometimes to get to the, an inside fade ball outside the numbers. So, I think all those things are different. I think the one in Tulsa, he was a little bit out of control. And when you're out of control and you just try to dive at some point in time, you're putting yourself in a situation. It's the same thing. It wasn't like the ones that I think should always be thrown out of the game is when somebody legitimately launches, when somebody hits somebody that's on the same plane. When the offensive guy's plane changes, I don't think there's really a target. I know we're going to say it is if you hit them in the head, but I don't think those are where the ones should be ejected because you can't ever really know where they're going to be at that point in time. I mean, we protect quarterbacks and we all understand that, but I don't know that there's anything we're going to do different. We continue to educate, continue to teach, make sure our guys understand what defenseless players look like, and hope that those situations don't continue to happen because they're hard on all of us. Momentum of games, energy of games, and like said to me, I don't. No matter who it is, I don't think players should be thrown out of games.
Spinning it forward to Temple, they're a team that seems to have found some rhythm here offensively. What are you seeing as far as differences that they kind of found out here of late?
Well, I didn't watch them as much earlier before they had made the switch at quarterback, but they've done a really, really, really good job. They're very efficient in what they're doing. They've thrown the ball incredibly well. They mix it up. I think that I think quarterback's only taken 6 sacks, and he's throwing the ball maybe 40 times a game, and that's over a long period of time. So really, really efficient in what they're doing. I think they got great balance, and for a young guy, he understands the game. He understands, where his outlets are and what he needs to do if it's not there. And you can see that. You can see the growth even from game 5 on.
You talked about finding a way to win. You said that after a few other games this season. With a team with some guys who are maybe shorter on experience coming into the year, what do you attribute that ability to?
Finding ways to win.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think it's an expectation. I think one of the bigger differences is even in year 1 and 2, like guys expect to win. They prepare and they do all those things, but when it comes down to crunch time, a lot of times it's about an expectation. Who really believes they can get it done? We panic at times and we show immaturity, and a lot of times, and then all of a sudden, in these really critical moments, you see this mature group kind of step up. We give up a 4th and 13 or 4th and 14, and you're like, oh my goodness, here it is. Can we handle this? And then all of a sudden, some way, somehow, maturity steps up, plays are made, and and we finish the ball game. So it's really hard. I know, My dad in particular calls me afterwards and says, I think I'm done. I don't know if I can do this anymore. You're going to kill me. I mean, and you're lucky you're young and your heart can take it. I don't know that I'm young and I don't know that I can take it. But it is. It's that flows. It's that ups and downs, and it's that, I think more than anything, that expectation that they're going to get it done.
How important has the play of Jaquan Shepard been to this defense as he's grown this year?
He's done a great job. He's been consistent, and I think that, not saying he's the only one, but I think it's one of those spots that, going into the year, I think everybody would have said, okay, what's it going to be like? What's he going to do? How's it going to be? And what's it going to be like when a guy catches the ball for the first time in a long time? What's it going to be like to him? I mean, there's a lot of guys that fill shoes and not just do a good job, but are under pressure and scrutiny and because they're not quite what somebody else is. And all those things, he's done a phenomenal job at handling. He's played really well. He's been very consistent, and I don't think he's ever tried to be, the guy that was there before him. He's truly being who he is and playing the way that he does. And I think he's really grown up.
Morion filled in for Brian after the targeting call. Just talk about what you saw from him out there. Obviously, he made that key block on the Jaden Thompson touchdown, kick return touchdown. Just talk about what you saw from him out there.
Well, Marion's played a lot this year. I mean, he's played a lot, especially while he's filled in. He's played some games, not just when, Threats got in trouble or when he got, ejected. He's actually played a lot in some other situations and some other games. So that's what is fortunate for us when, whether a guy gets hurt or, something like happened the other night, that you got a guy that's got some experience, that's played some really critical roles and some time, and has the ability to step in and play. You can't devalue, the big plays that are done on special teams and the maturity that you gain through playing some of those special units. Just come to practice, you'll realize the pressure and the emphasis on that. So those guys that sometimes maybe that's their role as a younger age as they grow, are a lot more ready than people would believe, to step into not just. Well, they don't have a whole lot of experience on it, I know, but they're ready to step into those situations that are high-pressure situations.
Joe, then Justin.
You said at the beginning, Luke, that this is when the playoffs start. What did you mean by that?
Well, I mean, we know that our whole objective, we've always wanted to play for championships, and I think that now that you're in a position where it's all or nothing. And I'm not saying that every game isn't like that, but you're just trying to put a little bit more of an emphasis on, what you need to do, and you want to make sure these guys understand that. So that's what we really say. It's not like we're putting a sign up here and say the playoffs begin, but it's just, hey, understand now, we've trained and we've done all these things to get to November and to be in a position where November really matters. Don't forget that November really matters.
It was kind of a tradition in this room last year on Tuesdays to ask you if you'd be watching the college football playoff show on Tuesday night. You guys are now back in that conversation where you might make your debut this season in the college football playoff rankings. I'm trying to figure out a better way to ask than say, hey, are you going to watch? But did you?
Do I know did they even do that show?
It's
No.
tonight, yeah.
They do it on Tuesday nights?
Tuesday
No.
nights.
No.
Same as last year.
Same as last year? Really? I don't remember last year. Maybe if you cancel the radio show, then I'll go home and sit and watch the show.
Gotcha. Did you learn anything from last year on the ways of the college football playoff show and wondering where you might be and just how a team?
Well, since I didn't watch it, I probably didn't learn from it. I'm not the sharpest tack in the box. Maybe sometimes, an old D lineman, old wrestler. But it's really hard to learn from it if you don't actually pay attention to it and watch it. So, to be honest with you, I don't know what I could learn from it that would give me a better chance to lead our guys and our team. Now, watching it and learn from it might give you some more anxieties on, okay, well, we've got to be able to do this. We got to maybe win by this. I don't know, but I try to avoid those things that I don't think are going to give me a chance to be better at what I do. And I think that's one of them. I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy listening and seeing highlights, and I love college football. I love football. But those things that even you love that sometimes cause you a little bit more anxiety. I talked about it the other day when, I love to watch, your buddies play. The Titans were playing last Sunday night or whatever it was, and I left out of here and started the fourth quarter. And I saw it was a tight game, and I wouldn't turn the game on. Not that I didn't want to watch, not that I didn't want to see, your buddy playing that, but it creates more anxiety for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pick that phone up every few minutes and look at the score, but I'm not going to hang on play after play after play because I'm not sure what it's going to do for me, and I got enough anxiety in my life.
I think you were actually on that show a few times last year on Tuesday nights. Did you block that out too?
Did they taped it earlier? Probably, right?
They must have.
I could. I was Jim. I was with the radio show. These guys. I mean, I can't miss that. Must have been tape delayed.
You've stressed a lot this year not wanting these guys to compare themselves to last year or anything like that. Do you in your mind though ever compare whether it's teams you had at Ohio State or teams you've had here, like this year reminds me of that season?
This year reminds me of none. Yes, I do sometimes compare. You know, because you try to draw upon, you know, all of your experiences. And so, yeah, you do. And, you know, just like you compare to players and guys and things like that. But it's more so in a situation where you're trying to compare to say, okay, now, you know, how did that work? And what did I do? And what did we do? And how did we handle this? Yeah, you're always kind of drawing from those past experiences. But I would really say that this is very, very, very unique. And I'm not sure I've been in, you know, one that's been any bit similar.
Why is that? Why is this?
I don't know. Like I said, the way all the different ups and downs, the way different games have ended. You know, those last punts. I haven't been in a whole bunch of those situations, and you know, I mean, the emotional shifts of game. A lot of times you get in a rhythm of a game, you feel it, and things adjust. But like the ups and the downs, I think have just been uniquely different this year. I don't know exactly why. Whether it's maturity, you know, it's back and forth. You're down, you're up. You're playing really well. And all of a sudden you give up big plays. There's a lot more, you know, unknowns that we've had kind of throughout games, not just the year, but in particular in games.
You announced Jaquan as one of the defensive players of the game from Friday night. What did you see from him Friday night? What have you seen as he's continued?
The number one thing I think is consistency. I think that he's been very consistent in what he's done, and that's what we asked him to be. You know, I mean, we knew he was going to be, you know, a newer starter, even though he's been here for a while. And you know, hey, as you go and you do this, man, you're going to develop more and more things, but you got to be consistent. I think that's the key at that position in particular. You know, there's just so many shots, so many opportunities that are taken at that spot that you got to have consistency. And you know, the ups and the downs, probably more than any spot, that's got to be consistent. It's that, because if you get in one of those situations where you're not consistent, you lose your emotions. I mean, that snowball grows a lot faster at that position than any other.
Are there parallels to 18 and 19 where you guys won a lot of close games, or 18 you had the...
No, I don't think so. I mean, and a lot of times it's the makeup. A lot of times it's, you know, what an expectation is, because you know, there was a completely different expectation sometimes in 18 and 19. And I don't mean the outside, I just mean from us in general. And had we been in some of these situations in 18, I don't know if we would have had the same year, just because I don't know. I mean, we created an expectation to win, and we created that, you know, what winning looks like. Without having that right now, I'm not sure it would be the same. So I don't know that there's a whole lot of parallels. You know, you won close games and you found ways to win, but different than we were finding ways to win right now.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you.
Good. Thank